Former Colombian President Alvaro Uribe, who's under investigation for alleged witness tampering, resigned from his Senate seat on Tuesday. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas held a meeting with Palestinian resistance movements on Tuesday to address the deal signed between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Soldiers in Mali have arrested the president and prime minister, sparking fears that a military coup could be in the making. From the headquarters of Teleso English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South, I'm Katrina Goss. And we begin in Colombia, where former President Alvaro Uribe, who's under investigation for alleged witness tampering, resigned from his Senate seat on Tuesday. The Supreme Court placed Uribe under house arrest earlier this month on charges of bribery and procedural fraud, representing the first time ever a Colombian court has detained a former president. Senator Uribe sent a letter to the Senate President, Arturo Char, explaining the reasons of his resignation. Meanwhile, the Colombian Senate is due to vote in a plenary session whether or not to accept the resignation. Meanwhile, Colombian lawmaker for the Alternative Democratic Pole Party, Iván Cepeda, noted that Uribe's resignation does not affect the ongoing investigations against him.
The fact that Uribe resigns from the Senate does not mean under any circumstances that the Supreme Court of Justice loses its mandate to advance in the investigations and to summon Uribe to a trial. Uribe, as a senator, used members of his legislative office in order to contact several prisoners in different prisons across the country, paramilitaries, so they could testify against me. Likewise, using his status as a senator, he started a campaign around a debate I initiated in the Senate, and also another debate I participated in the House of Representatives. In this sense, the mandate to rule on these acts still lies in the hands of the Supreme Court of Justice.
And the United States and Colombia announced on Monday the launch of a new joint plan to combat drug trafficking. Colombian President Iván Duque and U.S. National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien made the joint statement at the presidential palace in Bogotá. Mauricio Clava Caroni, advisor on Latin American issues to the White House and one of the most hostile figures in Trump's cabinet towards Venezuela and Cuba, is also part of the U.S. delegation in the country that launched a new plan. The exact amount of resources allocated was not revealed. Analysts warn that the new plan, sold as an effort to tackle violence and invest in affected areas, represents yet another move to intervene in Colombia in order to guarantee U.S. interests and the ongoing attacks against neighboring Venezuela. The Brazilian government of far-right President Jair Bolsonaro has proposed budget cuts in the health sector in the midst of the crisis sparked by the coronavirus pandemic. Experts warn that if the 2021 health budget is approved, it would further undermine the already weak public health system. National Health Council Technical Advisor Francisco Funcia calculated that the budget represents a cut of $35 billion for next year. Specialists have stressed that it's necessary to guarantee an emergency platform in order to cover the expenses for vaccination against COVID-19 and invest and expand healthcare centres, among other actions, in order for Brazil to overcome the crisis sparked by the pandemic, which has seen it report the second highest caseload and death toll in the world. In Ecuador, the Citizens' Revolution movement has drawn up its strategy for the February 2021 presidential election. Andrés Araúz and former President Rafael Correa were selected as candidates for the presidency and vice presidency, respectively. This is not the first time that Araúz and Correa team up, as the former served as a minister during Correa's presidency. The official presentation of the running mates will take place this Tuesday in Quito and at Ecuador's consulate in Belgium, where Correa currently resides. Araúz is an economist and mathematician with several degrees and a doctorate from the National Autonomous University of Mexico. During the government of Rafael Correa, he was appointed Minister of Knowledge and Human Talent and was simultaneously Minister of Culture for a short period. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Arriaza received his Turkish counterpart, Melfet Cavusoglu, this Tuesday. The foreign ministers signed several agreements to strengthen bilateral cooperation in the economic, social, educational and cultural fields. Arriaza also confirmed that the Turkish minister would meet with President Nicolas Maduro. Cuban health authorities provided an update on the number of COVID-19 cases in the country this Tuesday.
As a result of the analysis of these 4,294 samples, 44 people tested positive for COVID-19. With these results from yesterday, the country accumulates 336,333 tests conducted and 3,408 people diagnosed with COVID-19.
And the National Director of Epidemiology at the Cuban Public Health Ministry also made reference to the number of people who have recovered from the virus.
With these 102 recoveries yesterday, we have a total of 2,794 patients, or 82% that have recovered in our country.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, has described the recent travel advisory issued by the United States, advising its citizens to avoid non-essential travel to Caribbean community members, as hilarious. Speaking on the state-owned NBC radio, Gonsalves also noted that the bulletin advises against travel to Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, despite all these countries reporting low levels of coronavirus infections. The Prime Minister noted that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has reported a total of 57 cases, 55 of which have recovered. He also highlighted that there have been no COVID-19 related deaths in the country.
I'm the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I am the...
Authorities in St. Kitts and Nevis have outlined the process to safely harbour 2 Royal Caribbean cruise ships this week. The 2 vessels will arrive on August 19th with 70 crew members aboard each. According to Minister of Tourism Lindsay Grant, each crew member will be given a PCR test upon arrival and must remain in quarantine for 14 days on their vessels. When all crew members receive a negative test at the end of their quarantine, they'll be allowed to disembark while observing social distancing and mask-wearing safety measures. There are currently 0 active cases of COVID-19 in the country. Grant said that he did not doubt that citizens would be welcoming towards the crew and noted that this initiative would benefit many businesses, as those on board would be using local amenities. And we'll be right back after this short break, so don't go away.
Telesur English presents a weekly program to discuss the political, economic and social issues affecting the Caribbean community. We'll challenge stereotypes and unpack the diversity of the region through the analysis of unique cultures, religions and art. We Caribbean. Wednesdays, only on Telesur. Who's moving the chessmen? What interests and motivate the actors behind each event? The board is deployed there. Critical Move investigates every event from Monday to Friday. Only on Telesur.
Welcome back to From the South. Reports from Mali indicate that a military coup could be in the making. President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta and Prime Minister Boubou Sisi were arrested at the president's residence in the capital Bamako at 4:30 p.m. local time by soldiers. The move came after reports of a mutiny Tuesday morning at an army base in Kati, located 15 kilometers north of the capital. Earlier, it was reported that the president of the National Assembly, Moussa Timbini, was abducted from his residence by armed men. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres condemned the arrest of Keïta and members of the government, calling for their immediate release, while the UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting to discuss the current situation in Mali on Wednesday afternoon. The country has seen opposition protests for months calling for the resignation of the president. Meanwhile, the chairman of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, has condemned the arrest of the Malian president, prime minister and other government figures, while also refusing to accept any political change as the result of violent acts. Moussa Faki also called on the international community, including the Economic Community of West African States, to oppose any use of force to change the government in the country. Authorities in Greece and Cyprus continue to call on the European Union to take action following Turkey's latest moves in the eastern Mediterranean region.
An anachronistic behavior on the part of Turkey that negatively affects the efforts and the real will of Greece and Cyprus for conditions of security and stability to prevail in the wider Eastern Mediterranean region. For a long time, Cyprus and Greece have pointed out that the appeasement of Mr. Erdogan will result in an unprecedented escalation of Turkey's delinquent behavior, and unfortunately, this is what we are experiencing today in different directions and at different levels. The escalation of Turkish aggression is directed against the European Union and must therefore lead to the escalation of the European reaction to deal with it. Turkish provocations show contempt for the clear positions of the European Union, the US and the states of our region. They denigrate European values, international law and the law of the sea.
Turkish authorities announced on Tuesday that preparations are ongoing for the reopening of schools on September 21st, despite reporting increases of over 1,000 coronavirus cases per day.
Within the framework of the protocol we signed with the Turkish Standards Institute and the framework of the protocol signed by the Ministry of Education, about 2,000 inspectors are currently being trained. These inspectors will evaluate our private and public schools and will give out My School is Clean certificates to our schools that meet these standards.
In the school's common areas and in specific points, there is hand disinfectant and stickers calling for 1 meter of social distancing. And our classrooms are widely spaced and were arranged so our children can sit while social distancing. We haven't seen any issue or anything. In this regard, we are very happy about our school.
Kenyan health authorities confirmed 271 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday, pushing the total over 30,000.
Today we report 271 people who have tested positive after sampling 4,019 cases in the last 24 hours. We now stand at 30,636 positive cases in the country, and we have also pushed our cumulative number of tests to 398,585. Among these 266 cases that we are reporting today, all of them are Kenyans, with the exception of 4 who are foreigners.
And Kenyan authorities also called on young people to avoid reckless behaviour and observe restrictions in order to curb the spread of COVID-19.
Young, healthy people without any underlying condition also succumb to this disease. So the messaging must now be tuned, and we'll continue to urge these young people to stop the reckless behavior, the feeling that they are immune to this disease, the flouting of the regulations that have been put in place so that we don't spread this disease.
On Tuesday, Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan will present their prospective proposals regarding the filling and operation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which has sparked a dispute among the three countries. Ministerial delegations from the three African nations agreed to present the proposals following a virtual meeting on Sunday under the auspices of the African Union to resume negotiations regarding the hydroelectric project built by Ethiopia. After a day of debates with the European Union and the United States acting as observers, the ministers of foreign and water affairs of each nation agreed to work together in order to reconcile demands and interests and begin the drafting of a text with precepts that address the concerns and guarantee the rights of all parties. And we've come to the end of this news brief, but remember you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For Telesurenglish, I'm Katrina Goss, and thank you for watching.